Okay, seventh grade scientists, you are going to be doing your own investigation for the next 6 to 7 days, where you are going to try to find out how does adding soil to a food sample affect how fast that food sample will rot. In order to get set up for this experiment, we need to understand a little bit about experimental variables. And in fact, we have three vocabulary words. The first word is independent variable. The independent variable, we're going to color in yellow, is the factor that is changed by the experimenter, but it is unchanged by other factors in the experiment. There is only one independent variable. The dependent variable is a factor that is changed by the independent variable. We're going to make this orange. It is measured as data. There's usually one thing that you are measuring. Finally, we have our controlled variable. The controlled variable are the factors that remain constant throughout the experiment. So notice up here we said that our independent variable, there can be only one. The controlled variables are making sure that there is only one independent variable. And there are many in an experiment. In order to identify the variables in our investigation, we first need to write out our investigation question. The question for this investigation is, how does the presence of soil affect the rate at which food rots? Remember that we said the dependent variable is going to be changed by the independent. So one thing that we can do is think about what are we going to change at the beginning and which thing will be affected. Okay, so then that helps us understand that soil is our independent variable. This is what we, the experimenters, are going to be changing. And then affect the rate at which food rots. So we are going to change soil, and then we are going to measure how fast our food samples rot. So then we're going to go ahead and fill out these boxes over here with those variables. You can see that I have added that soil is our independent variable and that the rate of rotting is our dependent variable. Controlled variables are things that we are going to need to leave the same, and you are going to need to determine before you begin your experiment. One controlled variable that you will need to identify is your container. It's important that both of your samples, the sample with plain food and the sample with plain food plus soil, that they both are in the same kind of container. So this might be a plastic bag. This could be a plastic Tupperware. I would use a disposable kind, like a yogurt container, so that you don't cause any problems with reusable Tupperware. You are going to list the container that you are using for your experiment here in the controlled variables. Next, you will need to decide what sample you will be using to see how it rots. For me, my food sample needs to be the same between both containers. I chose snap peas because these were in my refrigerator and they were already starting to look like they were maybe a little bit old. Another thing that you're going to want to keep the same is the amount of sample. For me, I am using 2 snap peas in each container. I have added 2 more controlled variables, the size of the sample and the location of containers. I want my containers to be somewhere that is warm and that I can easily access every day. Finally, I need to write my prediction. Please take a look at my prediction and use this same sentence frame. If I add soil to a food sample, then the rate at which the pea rot